What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing well today. It is November 10th, 2019, and this is Raphael Garcia. And I'm here for Let's Talk Wrestling episode 37, almost at 27. We're moving along, though. We're at episode 37, making some strides. And we are going to be talking mostly about AEW Full Gear, which just went off the air probably about 20 minutes ago or so, maybe at the very most. But man, that was a hell of a show, and it was. I say that not saying everything about it was positive, but it was. I was definitely entertained from start to finish, and I think that that's the most important piece about this: being entertained with professional wrestling, and that was some entertaining wrestling for sure from start to finish. But before we jump into that, we're going to talk about that and a couple of different bits of news today and developments from over the week. But as always, I want to start off with saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this show. Please like and subscribe to our content. You can catch us at MMA Ratings Net. You can catch us there on Instagram and Twitter. You can also pop over to YouTube to catch this podcast and the weekly MMA podcast that comes out every Thursday. And you can go over to Anchor, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, SoundCloud, and I believe that's it, where all of our content is housed. You can catch me at rgarcia_sports, where I spend a lot of my time talking about professional wrestling there and mixed martial arts and basketball, politics, everything in between. So thank you again for taking the time to listen to us, and let's go ahead and kind of jump into this recap show and talk about other items as well. But AEW Full Gear, this was their first pay-per-view since their weekly show, and I like what they gave us here. I'm definitely pleased with this. I am looking forward to seeing their next couple of shows. This was in Baltimore. I kind of wish I would have went, but I'm glad I got to sit here and watch it at home and see everything. But this was a spectacular show. It gave us something for everyone. I don't think there's anyone who should be walking away from this show upset until we get to the main event, because I have quite a bit of things to say about that. But the show opened with Britt Baker defeating Bria Priestley. You know, they're going to shove Britt down our throats. I'm not the biggest fan of her. I'm not the biggest fan of AEW's women's division as a whole. I think they have some work to do there, but I believe that they will try to do that work and give those women proper placement and maybe build up that division a little bit better. But we're going to get a healthy dose of Britt Baker. I'm surprised that she's not the women's champion, but she will be soon. She's going to be the focus for that organization at some point in time in the future. My biggest complaint about their women's division is that I felt like at one time a lot of them looked a lot like. You had Penelope Ford, Bea Priestley, what's the other lady's name? Allie, Sadie Gibbs. Like when I went to their first show, I talked about this on previous episodes, that I couldn't tell any of those three women apart. And Sadie Gibbs is someone I like, and she's been looking good on AEW Dark. They recently signed Big Swole as well. So let's see, what they continue to do and who they build this division around. But I think that they're going to build it around Britt, and I'm just not the biggest fan of hers. Proud and Powerful, Santina and Ortiz defeated the Young Bucks. This was a great match. A lot of high spots that fit within the Bucks style. I was kind of in and out paying attention to the whole thing, but Proud and Powerful gets the victory there, and you kind of knew because they can't debut in a circle and then start having all of them losing all of these matches. So this was kind of easy to tell that was coming, but they did get the victory. And what happened after that, man? The Rock and Roll Express, and they're going to be kind of when we hit in the NWA part of the show as well. They were there too, but Rock and Roll Express came in. Ricky, I think it was Ricky, hit a suicide dive, and the other guy, whatever his name is, Bobby, I can't remember their names, but the other one hit a Canadian destroyer over the top rope. They kind of left Proud and Powerful Santana. I'm not calling them that. Santana and Ortiz lane, And the crowd was into it. They definitely seemed into it. They were hyped. They were cheering. They were excited. But maybe it's just me. I hate to see these guys get beat up like that so soon. But it is what it is. I hate to see them beat up by two 60-some-odd-year-old men. It's funny because if this was WWE, people would be hating on them for putting over the old guys. But, it is what it is. I'm just not here for that. The first piece of the show I did like, though, Adam Page and Pac, that we know these guys are going to deliver. It's kind of like we watched Tom Breeze. What am I doing today? Drew Brees and Tom Brady go out there. Those two quarterbacks are going to put on a show. That's what you're going to get anytime Page and Pac go out there. Page got the victory. In my opinion, Pac should have got the win because I think he's been more protected to this point. I'm going to guess that Page is next in line for Jericho, but Pac is that dude to me, and I'm always going to be a big fan of his. Then we had Shawn Spears and Joey Janela. Shawn Spears got the win here, but I was not paying attention to this match at all. Not a fan of either man. This is a big nope for me. I mean, I don't know what they are doing with either one of these individuals. We'll see. But this felt like, I almost can say that this almost didn't even feel like a mid-card feud to me. They should have been on the pre-show if there was one, or they shouldn't have been on this show. This was like this was a TV show, a TV match in my opinion. SCU defeating the Lucha Brothers and Private Party. This was a good match here. Before I dive into it, I definitely want to say one thing. Let's stop comparing the Private Party to Street Profits. Let's just stop it because they're nothing alike. The gimmicks are nowhere near the same. You just saw four black guys and wanted to compare them to each other. Let's stop that. So if you're on Twitter comparing Private Party and Street Profits, let's just not do that. Okay, let's be better than that. But SCU got the win there. Christopher Daniels made his return. He's been out with injury. I think he came back in like the fallen angel gimmick, which I like. Christopher Daniels is someone that grew on me. I wasn't a big fan of his to begin with, but I've changed that tune because I think he is better than I realized over the years. So Christopher Daniels is someone that I appreciate and someone who's continuously got it done. I look forward to see what's next with this team here. Scorpio Sky, I believe, is a star. He is fantastic in the ring. He looks the part, and he's someone that I want to see more of down the line. But they got the win there, and they keep the tag team titles. Rio also kept her title when she defeated Emi Sakura in a fantastic match. It was only 13 minutes, which obviously is quick, but it was an excellent match from start to finish. I enjoyed it, and I appreciated everything that they gave in this brief time here. It's funny because even on some other podcasts and other shows where they're talking about how Rio isn't really a star, and I get that because obviously she doesn't speak English. She's small and whatever other detractions you want to place on her. But I like the fact that she's a different type of women's wrestling that I'm not used to. And in my opinion, the different style is good. I would rather see her more than I would want to see almost any other woman on this roster right now, just because they wrestle so differently and they bring something different to the table. There's a segment of AEW fans that are behind her and enjoy watching her matches, but there's going to be a segment that doesn't as well. But this was a testament of how good she is, and the only thing that was unfortunate is that this story wasn't told beforehand, because you have two women here that I think they said that they have 268 matches combined between them. They've had 6 matches for titles over their career. Coming into this match, they were 3-3. Riho was trained by Sakura in Japan, and they have a lot of history together. That's something that should have been told, but unfortunately they didn't get the opportunity to tell that for whatever reason, because this story wasn't being told from a week in and week out basis on television. I think this match was announced maybe 2 or 3 days ago. So it didn't even get the hype in the pub. I mean, Baker versus Priestley got a good promo, but there wasn't anything around the Riho match, and that it just doesn't need to be like that. Like, they could have done something with Kenny Omega talking about their history together and why he believes in her, etc. So there's so many different things that they could have done there, but they missed the opportunity there, and that impacts Riho's believability as a champion, and impacts her, the way the fans respond to her. It impacts a lot of different things there, and unfortunately they did her a disservice. That took us to the match between Cody and Jericho, and in my opinion, this was my favorite match of the night. There was so much story being told there between these two men. The entrances were great. I hated the fact that they kept going back to Cody's mom in the crowd, but she slapped the shit out of Jericho when they got over to that spot. This was fun. Jericho is doing his damn thing as the top name in the organization. I like that they kept the belt on him for a little while longer. Let's see how that kind of plays out, and let's see how who is the one that takes the title off of him. I just think he's doing great work as the main man right now, and I don't think that should change, because no one else, in my opinion, except for Cody, really catches my attention and keeps my gaze on AEW. Pac would, but he's not a mainstream star. Kenny is a great for hardcore fans, but he's not going to be on NBA on TNT out there laughing and joking with Shaq and Charles Barkley, Ernie Johnson, and Kenny Smith. He's not going to be in the ring running around joking with them and laughing and have a good time. Jericho is that guy that does that, and that's why he has the main title right now. I'm thinking you don't want to take that belt off of him. But this was a great match from start to finish. Cody had that nasty face plant spot where he went over the top rope and Jericho ducked, and I don't know, the way the cut looked, it looked real. It wasn't along the hairline, and it wasn't one of those ones that were mixed in with sweat to make your face get covered in blood. It looked nasty. It looked a lot like the gash that Nate Diaz had during his fight with Jorge Masvidal at UFC 244, where the fight was actually stopped because of that cut. So it was pretty nasty, but they kept going. Some great spots there. I loved the lion tamer, where Jericho has a lion tamer locked in and starts stomping on Cody's head. I'm like, why haven't we seen that before? That was amazing, and it led to MJF throwing in the towel that kept the belt around Jericho's waist. Now, the stipulation was important here because, as the executive vice president, Cody made that stipulation where if he loses, he's never allowed to challenge for the belt again. So they have that story to tell from an extended standpoint, even beyond whatever's next for Cody and MJF. And I say that because MJF kicked Cody in the nuts, facilitating his turn. So I have some mixed feelings about this. Obviously, professional wrestling is scripted, and we can see majority of the different angles and everything coming a mile away. But this situation here just made me shrug and just kind of shake my head, because they could have waited months to years, and that turn would have been much, much, much more valuable. Instead of having the one fan who looked a lot like Brandon Cutler throw that drink on MJF, they could have had a situation where everyone was throwing stuff into the ring, where he got nuclear heat like the Dudley Boys used to get back in the day, or others used to get back in the day. This was an opportunity to get there, and they jumped the gun a little bit too soon, because we knew it was coming. We knew MJF. He's a heel everywhere else, but he's a friend with Cody, and he's trying to get the crowd hyped up for Cody. But He's a dick everywhere else. I mean, we knew what was coming here. But this was a situation where I think that they just jumped the gun a little bit too soon. Give us some extended storytelling here. It's only been a month since your show's on TV. Give us some extended storytelling. Give us, a Cody and MJF tag team title run where they keep the belts and you have people thinking, okay, the turn's going to come here, so they lose the title, but it doesn't. Like, give us something more extended, and they didn't do that. And I don't think it's going to hurt them anytime or whatever like that. I think MJF is gold. He's excellent. He's probably one of the best heels in the game today, or he will be one of the best heels in the game in the future as he continues to learn. I think he's only like 23 or 24, but this was an opportunity to really kind of deliver something long term, and they didn't do that. Cody could have still lost here. They could have still done throwing in the towel gimmick, but it is what it is here. And what I liked about that was I actually didn't see that finish coming, because they kept talking about the 60-minute time limit and the fact that there's 3 judges sitting around the ring. I did not think that there was a way out with the towel throwing gimmick, and that's exactly what happened there. And it was good. It was good. I just wish that they pushed that MJF turn a little bit further out. Then we got Jon Moxley defeating Kenny Omega in this match. Woo boy, you're going to see some hot takes about this match here. I kind of had one for a second. My Daily DDT Slack that I'm in had a bunch of hot takes. This match was something else, and I will say one thing. This match wasn't for me. I cringed a lot through it. I enjoyed, and I say that with a question mark afterwards, parts of it. But the first thing I thought in seeing this was wondering, how is the AEW roster thinking that they can top this? I hope this is the 3rd unsanctioned match that AEW has had. I hope it's their last for an extended period of time. We don't need it anymore. I don't need to see Joey Janela and Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc going out there and trying to top this joint. I don't. This was brutal as hell, and brutal in a way where it's just like, this doesn't need to happen. The Phoenix Splash off of the top rope into the wood, nope. I'm shaking my head. Nope, absolutely not. Dragging guys across the glass, putting glass in people's mouths and kneeing them. I mean, he could have swallowed, like, what the fuck? The suplex onto the net made out of barbed wire. Like, why? That's what I took away from that. This was these 2 guys gave it all. It was 30 minutes, I think, was how long that match went. And some people are saying it was too long, but man, like, they gave it their all. It was brutal as hell. A lot of people liked it. Me, I'm not the biggest fan of this. It makes me wonder what's next for both of these guys, because this match, according to AEW rules, doesn't count on their record, so there's that. So how do they kind of book themselves out of that situation? But there was just too much. Like, this is the type of match that ends a feud. This is the type of match where 2 guys fight like this, and they don't fight again for a year or so. But we'll see. They'll probably figure out a way to put them back together and kind of continue building around that. So that's my recap of AEW Full Gear. It was a good show. I enjoyed it from start to finish. For the most part, I kind of said what I didn't enjoy in the parts that I did. Jim Ross on the commentary, he's got to go. I know that they signed him to a huge deal, the biggest deal in wrestling commentary to date. But they got to get that dude out of there, because he is, like, he just doesn't give a fuck. It's like he's a lot like me showing up at work where people may have a problem or issue, and I'm like, I don't really give a damn, because I know my job's still paying me. Jim Ross is like that right now when he's behind the booth in AEW, because he just doesn't seem like he gives a fuck. He's going to go out there, he's going to say whatever he wants, and they're still going to cut him that check every 2 weeks or however, whatever they have arranged. This wasn't fun for him. Clearly it's not fun for him, because he's taking shots at Adam Page, taking shots at the ref, taking shots at Rio taking shots where he just doesn't need to take shots. They're talking football instead of putting over the live Wednesday night show. It's just so much that's just like, this just doesn't quite work. And I think I have to do something about JR. His booth mate, though, Excalibur, is out there putting them hands, putting those paws on people. Because him and Jimmy Havoc got to a fight this today. Fife, I saw it on Fife where they reported it that I know I saw it there first. I'm not sure if I saw the piece about Havoc being drunk when it occurred, but him and Excalibur got into a little tete-a-tete, and Jimmy Havoc got choked out by Excalibur right there in front of Tony Khan, and that's my favorite part. Like, that's the best part to me, that he got choked out right in front of Tony Khan. So there's that. But let's all in all, this show was great for me. I think that I would give them, if I had to give them a letter grade, I would give them maybe a B for this show. It was one of my favorite shows from 2019. So let's move on and let's talk about what we saw this week in NXT. Not necessarily recapping, but they had some success this week, for lack of a better term, because obviously we remember the SmackDown invasion that occurred last week, and that led into another invasion on Raw where Adam Cole and Seth Rollins had a match. Unfortunately, the crowd wasn't hot for that match, and you could feel it. They ended the night with one of those brawl segments that WWE does so often that just didn't do well. For me, it just looked whack. But what this segment did on Sunday and what the invasion on Friday and Monday did for NXT was probably more important, because what we got on Wednesday was AJ Styles and OC basically busting into NXT and showing their ass, and they beat the hell out of people. And this was important because what we got was a main event with Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and I can't remember who the third was. Matt Riddle, Keith Lee. I can't remember who the third was, but they were against Tommaso Ciampa. They were against the OC, and they had that match. And then Finn Balor comes out, and they hinted towards something between AJ and Finn, and then Adam Cole and Finn. Remember, Finn, Cole, and Styles were all part of the Bullet Club. At one point in time, people thought Adam Cole was going to be the one to take over the Bullet Club, but they've all been a part of the group. So that was an interesting bit of action there. But what it did was they got a bump in the ratings. They were losing to AEW for the previous 5 weeks, and they were losing by like a double-digit margin. This week, they lost by a margin of 9,000 viewers. 813 for NXT, 822 for AEW. I really try not to harp about the ratings too much, but that's big news to me, and I wonder what they're going to continue doing heading into Survivor Series on the 24th, but also keeping it interesting enough after that and seeing if they can keep these numbers up and keep people excited and engaged. So I think that there's some opportunity there, because this is great for me. A lot of people are talking about this in a positive light, and how this benefits NXT. I think it's pretty awesome there. What we also saw, I saw this on Twitter yesterday, I believe, the WWE main roster is out in England, and NXT UK joined in because Imperium, Seth Rollins, I think, did an open challenge, and Imperium came out with Walter, obviously, and they ended up getting into a tussle there as well, too. So I'm looking to see if that kind of plays out on the main roster, because I would love to see NXT UK kind of mixed into this as well, help them get some shine. And as I mentioned, that shine is going all around because SmackDown got a big number this week. They got a 2.6 in the ratings, which is the highest they've had since the draft. So, they're onto something. Let's see if WWE Creative can keep it up. But they're really onto something, and it's just a matter of if they can keep that momentum going and not fucking it up as they tend to do in so many different ways. So, wanting to talk round 3. Got one more topic piece to consider here. Or yeah, we got this. We got the 2 more topic pieces. And we have NWA Power. Episode 5 was this past week. The numbers are slowly dropping, but what's interesting is that this episode did 171K viewers, but over time their viewership is kind of getting over that 200K bump. The episode 4 actually did more than episode 3, which is a positive step, but it's still far from the almost 600,000 I watched the first episode, and 300, almost 400,000 I watched the second. So, they're continuously going down. They continue going down, but there's hope that they find a plateau where they don't drop any lower. There's a lot to take in from this show, but I'm not really a fan of the roster and the in-ring work. I don't think it's good. I think it's entertaining, but I don't think it's good. And I saw some things I like what they're trying to do with their women's division. That seems to be the piece where they're fleshing out a good storyline there. You have the Nick Aldis situation too. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with those angles. There seems to be too many of them. But we saw the debut of Thunder Rosa. She beat Ashley Vox, and then Marty Bell came out and was talking about her relationship with Allison Kay. That brings Thunder Rosa back out, who attacks Allison Kay, and then Marty Bell also turns on her. So I don't know if that means Marty is aligned with Thunder, but I'm a Marty Bell mark just because she's Afro Latina, I'm Afro Latino. I love it. She's a different look when you talk about women's wrestling today. So it's good to see her doing her thing. Thunder Rosa actually fought her first MMA bout Friday, for Combate Americas. She lost via unanimous decision, but I think she just started training back in June, and that says a lot. As someone who teaches MMA and has fought myself, that I can only say so much about that. I didn't watch the fight, but I do know that she definitely lost. So I'm interested in seeing what happens next for her. Ricky Starks and Aaron Stevens. This was an entertaining match. 2 out of 3 falls, and Starks wins 2-0. I think he's a good character. I like to see him work. Aaron Stevens is a great character as well. He's just so out of shape. Like, he doesn't look like a professional wrestler. He looks like a jobber, but he is a good character. So that's going to continue to help him in that space. I don't give a fuck about anything within the NWA men's division. Just don't think that they're any good. The Dawsons aren't any good. Kingston and Homicide, no, I'm not watching them. It's just not good television to me. Storm versus Cabana. I'm not a Colt Cabana guy. I'm a James Storm guy, but I'm not a Colt Cabana guy in any way, shape, or form. So that happened, but Cabana won the national title. The Rock and Roll Express were on this show as well too, and they're fighting everybody, the tag team champs and just any tag team that's there. And again, the old guys need to go away. It's funny that catchphrase "Okay Boomer" has kind of popped up across internet, and it's hilarious. And I'm going to use it here to talk about the Rock and Roll Express because they need to get the hell off of my computer or my phone or whatever else I'm using to watch professional wrestling. We also got news about Tessa Blanchard over in Impact is going to challenge Sami Callihan for their world title at the upcoming show Hard to Kill. And this is interesting because what they've been doing with Tessa is building her up into a huge star, or hoping that she can be built up into a huge draw. I think I like what they're doing. I'm not going to necessarily say it's working per se because I haven't seen any numbers that say that it is. But it is interesting. They've gotten my attention, and I may have to watch this show to see if they put the belt on her. I think it's a no-brainer that they should, but you know how things change in professional wrestling, and it goes back and forth. we also don't know what her contract situation is, so it wouldn't make any sense for them to put a title on somebody that they don't have locked in to a long-term deal. She would be an impact player anywhere that she would go, whether it be AEW, whether it be Shimmer, whether it be WWE, wherever she would go, she would be a impact draw. So it's interesting to see if they do something with her, or if they do put that belt on her. I would mark out. But Tessa Blanchard being the number one contender for that title has caught my eye. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and close out today's show. Again, my name is Raphael Garcia, and as always, you can catch me at rgarcia_sports, and you can catch the content that comes out on MMA Ratings at MMA Ratings Net on Instagram and Twitter, and also go to MMAratings.net where you can rate the fights and let us know what you thought about those. You can also catch the content that I create there and on other channels, but as usual, you can listen to this show usually on weekends. You can catch us here on Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, Apple iTunes, SoundCloud, and everywhere in between. Again, thank you all for listening to me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay safe. Have a great night, everyone.